Welcome back to another Fantasy Goodfellas video. We're going to talk about the top 10 wide receiver rankings for Week 11. You ready?
Let's do it.
The Fantasy Goodfellas.
Boom, boom, boom.
Rolling on the field.
The Fantasy Goodfellas. All right, before we get started on Week 11's rankings, tell me how we did on Week 10.
Well, in Week 10, if you take out Kupp and Deebo Samuel, who haven't played yet, and Antonio Brown, DeAndre Hopkins, and Robert Woods, who did not play, we hit on 17 of the remaining 25 receivers. Boom, boom, boom. Another solid week.
All right, let's see if we can keep that going. So for the top 10 wide receiver rankings for Week 11, Richard, take it over.
At number 1, we have Tyreek Hill, who will be home against the Cowboys.
We talked about Kansas City's offense being a little questionable. Is there any questions now?
Well, yeah, there were some questions, but it was mainly an issue with the defense in Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes comes out, throws 5 touchdowns. Everything's trending in the right direction there, at least for the offense. Tyreek Hill scored twice. I expect him to have a big game in which should be a shootout against the Cowboys. And number 2, Devonta Adams at Minnesota.
We talked about Rodgers coming back, which should make Devonta Adams have a big game. He didn't have a big game. What do you think he's going to do in Week 11?
Yeah, Devonta Adams had a decent game, not a great game, didn't score, but I think they're going to start heating up that Rodgers to Devonta Adams connection. Adams is due for a breakout game. Number 3, we have Deebo Samuel at Jacksonville.
All right, he's going against Jacksonville. That should bode well for him, right?
Absolutely. Should bode well for him. Deebo Samuel has been consistent all year. He's been a top 5 receiver in fantasy. The question mark again, Garoppolo, Trey Lance, who's his quarterback? Are they going to be any good? But Deebo Samuel is a stud. And number 4, Stefon Diggs home against Indianapolis.
Last week, we talked about Stefon Diggs going against that Jets, and that should help him out a lot. That came true. What do you think happens this week?
I think Stefon Diggs keeps it going. Josh Allen has not played up to expectations, but I think he's going to turn the corner soon. Stefon Diggs had a big week. I think it continues. And number 5, CeeDee Lamb at Kansas City.
We had a couple questions about maybe being injured, but he had a tremendous game. What do you think happens the rest of the season for Lamb?
Lamb should be Dallas's number 1 receiver going forward. Dak Prescott looked fantastic. I think CeeDee Lamb has another big week, and they're playing Kansas City, so this will be a shootout. And number 6, Mike Evans will be home against the New York Giants.
We are excited to see Tampa return from their bye, expecting some big numbers. That didn't happen. Is there concerns in Tampa?
I don't believe so. I think Washington, the Redskins just had a good game. They came out, they were pumped up. They made some plays. I think Brady rebounds. Mike Evans had a long touchdown. And there are many injury questions on that team, right? Antonio Brown, Godwin wasn't 100%. Is Gronk going to play? So I think that makes Mike Evans a clear number 1. He's going to get a lot of targets, and I think Brady will rebound regardless of the injury situation. And number 7, JaMarr Chase at Las Vegas.
I guess if you're a fantasy owner with JaMarr Chase, you're excited to see him back to help out your lineups, right?
Absolutely. A lot of people missed JaMarr Chase last week, and he's got a great matchup here. Raiders, we just saw what the Chiefs did to them. I think Joe Burrow, Cincinnati do the same, but the Cincinnati defense is looking awful, so I think this one is going to be a shootout. And number 8, A.J. Brown, home against Houston.
You're still going with A.J. Brown being a top 10 receiver, even though he's not really performing like a top 10 receiver.
He has at moments. He's been hit or miss. When he hits it, he hits big. When he misses big. I think that has to do with Tannehill. Derrick Henry not being there, we didn't know if that was going to help him, hurt him. It hurt him this week. We will see. We will see going forward, but A.J. Brown is a stud. As I always argue, I'm not so sure about Tannehill. And number 9, Justin Jefferson, who will be home against Green Bay.
Jefferson had an amazing game last week. What holds him back from being higher in your rankings?
It's just, there's Adam Thielen's also there, Dalvin Cook. Kirk Cousins isn't always super consistent. I mean, look at that Vikings team, right? They're like struggling at 500. There's talent there. It's just Kirk, it all boils down to Kirk Cousins and his inconsistency. And number 10, DK Metcalf will be home against Arizona.
We expected a better performance from Metcalf. He did have a lot of targets, but he didn't do too well. What happened?
Well, I mean, he got kicked out of the game, but that was toward the end. I don't know. It was the whole, I guess, Russell Wilson, the chemistry. He just got back after missing several weeks. That's tough to do in the NFL. I think that all had something to do with it. But now, after 1 week, I think that offense will rebound. Wilson will rebound. Lockett will rebound. And more importantly, DK Metcalf will rebound.
All right. Thanks for coming on here and sharing the top 10 wide receiver rankings for week 11.
It's my pleasure. Remember, like, subscribe, send your questions in the comments section, and we will be here.
The Fantasy Goodfellas.
Rolling on the field.
The Fantasy Goodfellas.